This is a training video for SpatialXL showing how to add areas to SpatialXL in Excel. I've installed SpatialXL in my workbook, and as you can see, here's my tab and the ribbon with my SpatialXL functionality. The first thing I'm going to do is show spatial pane, and this opens up my graphics area inside Excel. The example of areas I'm going to use in this demonstration is the subplaces of South Africa, which is in a shapefile. I've opened this outside of Excel in my File Explorer, and you simply drag the SHP file with the areas in to your workbook into the layers area. And here are all my subplace areas of South Africa. What I'd like to also do, just to work with this data better, is to move it to my worksheet so that I can really see each subplace separately and look at each one separately. So I'm going to right click on my layer that's been created, this subplaces layer, and click on Move to Worksheet. Now I'm going to check all my columns except my geometry column, because I don't want to see the actual geometry in Excel, and I want to link on Object ID and just click on Link Data so that the link will be honored, and say OK. And here you can see all the different subplaces appearing in Excel. I want to look properly at this data, so I'm just going to resize my columns and just put a filter on my top level. And I'll freeze my top row as well. I can now zoom into any of these areas, but before I do that, let's do some styling first. So I'm going to go back into layers because it's added a data source here, and in layers I'm going to right click, go into my properties, and there I can set some styling. I can go to set my color, kind of blue color, and the selected color to be yellow, and OK. And now you can see the colors have changed. Let's also set some borders for these subplaces. I'll just set my border thickness to be 1, and that will be the color of my border. And now my subplaces look a bit better. I'm also going to turn on just a simple label for my subplaces. So you just right click, and in this menu text labels, I'm just going to select the SP name. And you can see labels appearing for subplaces. Now there's some nice features to zoom around your data on your SpatialXL ribbon. I can, for instance, just have my mouse on a particular field and go to zoom selected and highlight selected, and it will zoom and highlight to that data. If I zoom out with a simple, you just roll your mouse back, you can see that is the area. I can also do this automatically by clicking auto select and auto zoom on, and as I click on these different records, you will see these different subplaces turn on. I can also use the inspector tool to see data about a particular area. So I'm going to zoom into an area here. So let's go into Inspector, which I open with that button, and in here I can just click on a particular subplace, and as you can see there it is, Greenpoint in Kimberley, and I can select this in Excel as well, and there I can see the data. You can also look at your linked data to see information about the subplace. I can also rename my layer, so to give it a nicer name by simply double clicking, and I'm going to call it subplaces. And now my layer is also renamed. I'm going to make my text labels appear a bit nicer, so in the text property I'm going to give it a border with a width of 1. It shows me down here how it will look, and I can make it, even give it a background color. If I go into more colors, I can also set the transparency of the background of my border. And you can see my labels have all changed now. We can also filter on this data, so I can select particular subplaces on a particular Filter criteria, let's say that we want to see only a particular province's subplaces. And there you can see all the subplaces for Gauteng. You can now do a further filter here and filter out even more subplaces. So you can apply multiple filters with regards to these subplaces or these areas. By clearing my filter, all my data comes into view, and when I zoom fit, it will show all of my data. I'm going to do some theming now of subplaces as well, so I'm just going to turn off my text labels for this particular exercise, and let's do a basic theme in properties, and let's choose the province field as the color column. Choose unique colors and it will color by province for me, and there you can see my different provinces and the different colors that it applied to those particular subplaces. Let's do another theme. I'm just going to clear this one first. And to do this extra theme, I'm going to add a column to my data with some dummy data just for the purpose of this exercise. I'm going to call this value. Use a random number. Now I've added a column to my data. This could be any kind of sales figures or whatever you'd like to attach to areas in your company. And to make that visible, I'm just going to right click and say SpatialXL, update layer extents, and it will now include this additional column that I've added. So now I can theme by that column. So if I go into properties, thematics, colors, color based on number ranges, and choose this, it's a linked column because it comes from our spreadsheet, and let's say linked value, and we can basically just take the default settings, and you can see it will gradually color between these numbers from green to red, and there's all the colors applied per the theme of that value column. This data can also come from a database, so you can link it up to maps from databases or other data sources as well. Now to save this workbook, what you need to do is just make sure that this area that you've put in here, this layer, is dragged inside the workbook. And you can see here, this is the workbook name, which is book 1 at this stage, and subplaces are now inside that particular workbook. So if I just save this particular workbook and I call it shape data, and I click save, you will see that my workbook containing layer name changed to shape data, and that corresponds to this exact name here. And because this layer is inside, it will now save everything I've done. So when I close and reopen this workbook, all my data will be there exactly as it is here. That is the end of this particular training video. For more information, please visit our websites and continue watching training videos of SpatialXL. Thank you very much.